In my last video, I shared with you all that we have had to restart our garden all again from scratch. In this video, I am going to share with you all what we are growing this season. This could be a to-grow list for you if you're just starting out, especially if you live in an area where currently you're having no rains at all and your weather is hot and dry. Right now, we are like in full dry season. It's dry and it's really hot during the day. If you're starting out and you don't know what to grow and your weather is also as dry as mine, you may want to watch this video to the end. If you are seeing my face for the first time, my name is Weba Dua. I live in Ghana and I make videos of our backyard garden. So I have a whole bunch of seeds here, so many seeds and so many varieties. One of our favorite things that we love to grow and number one on our list is cabbages. We have grown to love growing cabbages. They've become one of our favorite things to grow during the dry season. Not that they don't do well during the rainy season, they do, but then during the rainy season you have lots of pests, you have lots of diseases. You have diseases like black rot, which of course, when there's too much moisture in the soil, because during the rainy season, you literally don't have control over the amount of water that goes into your soil. So your plants are taking more than they need. And one thing that I see less of during the dry season is the cabbage worm. This worm is so tiny, but the havoc it can cause to your cabbages, I can't even describe. When they attack your cabbages at a very early stage, especially when they attack the eye of the cabbage, which eventually forms the ball of the cabbage, when they attack that part, either your ball doesn't end up forming or your cabbage grows in a very distorted manner. Suddenly you see so many heads or so many eyes forming forming at various parts of the cabbage, and eventually you don't get that firm, round, beautiful ball of cabbage that you so desire. So you can either grow them by nursing them first in your nursery and then eventually taking them out to the main garden. Some people grow them directly. We normally nurse our seeds. We are even still in the learning stage. We have failed so many times at nursing seeds, but we just keep trying, hoping that one day we nail it. So we normally nurse our seeds, and then when they are strong enough, transplant them to the main garden. If you don't even want to buy seeds or you don't want to do all of this nursery thing, you can simply just buy some few seedlings from your local seedling seller or gardener, and you are good to go. Number 2 on my list is melons. If you're a lover of melons, you may have noticed that melons that are grown and harvested during the dry season have a much sweeter taste. And that's because the plant is not exposed to so much water because it doesn't rain. For that matter, the plant is forced to concentrate its sugars, making it much sweeter and flavorful. We have grown watermelons in the garden before. I have no idea what variant or type they were because our neighbor gave us the seeds, so I have no idea what variant they are. But this time around, we are going to grow the Sugar Baby and Honey Dew. And judging from the name, I'm guessing they are going to be very sweet and flavorful. Honey is sweet, sugar is sweet, so I guess they are going to be very sweet. What better time than to grow them? And also during the dry season, like I said, you have fewer pests to deal with. Melons are very vulnerable to pests like whiteflies and squashbug larvae. As for the squashbug larvae, we have a lot of them. We usually have them in the garden, and they don't do well when they are attacked by these kind of pests. So during the dry season, not that you won't have them, not that you won't face them, you would, but then there would be fewer in number and easier for you to handle. Number 3 on my list is basil. When it comes to basil, it's not even like we have a choice. We don't have a choice. Whether we like it or not, we have to grow basil because they are literally growing everywhere and in every part of this garden. Bring one basil to your garden and you will harvest basil for your lifetime. Because with basil, when they bolt, they make a lot of seeds. And some of these seeds would be moved from that spot to various parts of the garden by the wind, the rains. So at a point in time, you just have basil growing everywhere. It is one of the easiest herbs to grow. It is heat resistant. It's very resistant to heat. So it can be grown during the dry season, the rainy season, and they do very well. A few months ago, we had so much basil in the garden, we literally had to harvest them and sell. Apart from it being one of the easiest herbs you can grow in your home, it could also be a source of income if you don't mind trying this out in this 2026. So if you're looking for some cool cash or some cool money, maybe you should grow some basil. Tell your neighbors about it. Tell your friends about it. Harvest them, wash them, clean them up, package them nicely. Who knows, you might make some small cash from selling these basils from your garden. It will provide you food and then it will put some money in your pocket. One thing I have come to love so much about them, which is something we discovered through our journey of gardening, is how they are able to draw bees to your garden. There are things you will read about certain plants on the internet or hear from other food growers, but you don't actually get the opportunity to experience it. But this one, we got to experience it. Like, basil is like a magnet for bees. Their flowers draw a lot of bees to your gardens. If you have plants that need pollinators in your garden, bees, butterflies, especially bees, then you should definitely have basil as a plant in your garden. Another good plant that you can have in your garden this dry season, and a plant that we will be growing this season, is Swiss chard. We have grown to love this plant. Like, you can't hate Swiss chards. Chards are heat tolerant and fairly drought resistant compared to other leafy greens. However, you must still care for them so they produce abundant and quality leaves. They require a lot of mulching and constant watering. Also, if you can provide shade for them or partial shade for them, that's a good thing. We've had them in this garden. They served us well and beautifully, and we are definitely going to grow them this season. I have some seeds here. So if you're looking for a leafy green, even if you just want to have one leafy green in your garden, try Swiss chards. I love to use them for stew, which we usually pair with either rice or yam, and it is delicious. Next on my list that will be growing this season is pumpkins. Now, for pumpkins, we have never grown them before. This is our first time trying them out. We have this variant called the small sugar. When I saw this, I was like, we definitely have to try this. This is pumpkin, small sugar. We haven't grown pumpkin, any kind, any variant, never done them. This is our first time growing them. So I'm actually anxious. I'm actually eager to see how they will turn out. I hope there won't be a challenge. Now, from the little I have read about this particular type, we can either nurse them or sow them directly. And from the size, judging from the way the seeds feel in the pack, they are big enough. So I guess these are seeds that we can sow directly. So we'll probably nurse some and grow directly and see which ones will germinate faster and which ones will do well. So I'm really, really looking forward to growing this. And oh, okay. So they are sweet pumpkins that are perfect for baking. I love baking. I really love baking. I bake almost our breads, our cakes in the house. So I believe that if these do well, this will be a new ingredient that I could try with my baking skills. Pumpkins do well under full sun because they need that energy from the sun, which they can convert into energy through photosynthesis for the plants to thrive, grow, and make fruits and flowers. Also, I think they will need some pollinators. And now that we are going to have some basil in the garden, it will probably not be a big thing or difficulty for us. The next plant on my list is butter squash. I've grown to love butter squash so much. We nursed some seeds. This is the variant. Where is it? This butter squash. So we nursed some of the seeds of this winter squash butternut. This butter squash is sweet. It's sweet like sweet potatoes. If you love sweet potatoes and you're having a hard time growing them, grow butter squash. When you grill them, for us, when we harvested them, I grilled them in the oven and they came out almost the same texture as sweet potatoes when you bake them in the oven. They were sweet. Oh, they were sweet. They were sweet. We even saved some seeds from the fruits. All these seeds we saved from some of the fruits we harvested. So we are going to try growing them again because butternuts, winter squash butternut has become a favorite. Butternut squash, and in our experience, we've realized that they basically grow like the way cucumbers do. So you would either need trellis for them or you need a large space or area for them so they can creep around. They have become a favorite and we are definitely going to grow them in the garden. Also, I have noticed that the pests that attack them are also just similar to the ones that attack watermelons and cucumbers. So the same pest control methods will definitely be used for them. And they also need a lot of water. So although they like full sun, they would definitely need some watering and mulching if you want them to produce more fruits for you and do abundantly. So next one on my list is kale. If you've been following us, you will know that Kale is a favorite in this garden. We always have kale here, no matter what. And a variant that I personally have come to love so much is the lacinato kale. I have mentioned this kale so many times in most of my videos. It's a drought-resistant kale. It is very heat tolerant and it does well under any conditions. Like I have tested this plant and it has it has stood the test of time. Like this is a kale plant that will just keep giving you food, food, food. It can be in your garden for years. Just take care of it. Give it some organic manure, water it, care for it. And funny enough, even with the pests that attack it, it always even still looks pretty good. Like grasshoppers like our kales. I don't know why, but grasshoppers like our kales. And even with the grasshoppers on them, the kales do still look beautiful. Like from the outside, when you look at it, you wouldn't even know that there are pests on them. So kale is a must if you are wondering what to grow this dry season, especially the lacinato kale. I love to use my kale for juices. I make juices as a business on the side, so I always harvest my kales for that purpose and even for the house as well. So kale is a must this dry season. This season we are going to grow. We have the lacinato kale, of course, the lacinato kale, and then we have the red Russian kale. This one, we have the red Russian kale. We've grown it here before, but it wasn't during the dry season. We hope to see how it will do this season here in the garden. And then we have the dwarf Siberian. If you are looking for leafy greens that you can easily grow this dry season, try out kale. It doesn't disappoint. Next on my list is cucumber. Cucumbers, I'm not going to lie, are very tasty plants. They love a lot of water, but they do well under full sun. They do well during the dry season. You would have to be watering them consistently if you want to grow them this dry season. But if you are able to pull up and do all these things, mulch them, water them, control the pest, manage the plant, prune the leaves that are not needed, trust me, this plant is going to give you abundance of fruits this dry season. We have grown them in the garden. We have bought seedlings. We have grown them by nursing our own seeds before, and they did beautifully here. We have two cucumber variants, the cucumber market more and the cucumber beet alpha. I hope I got it right. So cucumber market more and cucumber beet alpha. I've grown these in our garden before. They didn't take long to germinate. We transplanted them and they were just, growing as if someone was chasing them. I use them for salads. I have grown to love cucumber and tomato salads. It's one of my favorite salads now and it's very quick to make. So usually I just grab some cucumbers, get some tomatoes, black pepper, salt, and olive oil. I chop my cucumbers and my tomatoes into very small, tiny pieces, add my olive oil, sprinkle a little bit of salt, some black pepper, and I have a salad to pair with my meal. So cucumbers are definitely going to be here and grown in our garden this season. Next on the list is beetroots. This is another plant that we have grown to love. Prior to us growing beetroots, I always thought it required magic. I always thought it required magic to grow beetroots because to me, they looked exotic. Like when I see beetroots, I'm like, oh, so how do you grow this to have this rich red color, So they used to intimidate me until we tried them out in the garden and we got a couple of beautiful plants and now we've grown to love them. One thing I did notice when we planted our beetroots was how resistant they are to pests and diseases. Trust me, we didn't have to care for them like the way we did with other plants. We didn't have to nurture them like the way we did with other plants. Of course, we needed to water, we needed to mulch, we needed to add some compost to them. But it wasn't something we did on a daily or had to keep a close eye on them. And that's one thing I love about them. If you are looking for a root vegetable to try out, or if you are a lover of beetroots and they seem intimidating to you like they did to me, please give them a try. They won't disappoint. You would love growing them. You can either nurse them in your nursery, starting out the seeds before you then transplant them to your garden, or you can sow them directly in the garden beds. We've tried both, and nursing them did give us a better yield compared to sowing them directly. When we sowed them directly, a lot of them died. so many of them didn't make it. But when we nursed them, we were able to get quite a lot of seedlings to be able to transplant in our garden. Beets are also used for juices, they are used for smoothies, and they are very rich and high in antioxidants, which is very good for the body. You can steam them for salads, you can use them for soups, and even you can extract the liquid, the red liquid of the beet shoots, and use them in your baking as a substitute for artificial food coloring. So if you're a baker, you love to bake, and you want to try a natural food coloring, then have some beets in your garden. Although beets do well under cooler environments, they also do well under full sun. If you want to provide partial shade for them, that's fine. If you also want to expose them directly in the sun, you can do that. But then you would have to make sure you water them consistently. You would also have to mulch them and provide them with rich organic matter so that they can grow well in abundance. Another plant that will be growing in our garden this season is rosemary. We have had a hard time growing rosemary in this garden. We have tried out seeds, not even one germinated, not even a single one of the rosemary seeds germinated. We have bought seedlings several times from our seedling supplier. We bring them here, we put them in a bigger pot, and eventually they die and dry out. We came to realize that rosemary doesn't really like a lot of water. And we were doing the opposite. We're watering it so much. Sometimes during the rainy season, we'll just leave it in the open and then water is just pouring and pouring. Recently, I had a conversation with our seedling supplier and I was lamenting to her about how much we have invested in rosemaries and they always die. And she then brought our attention to the fact that rosemary doesn't like a lot of water. If you've seen rosemary plants before, they have these webby, extensive roots. So they are able to travel down deep into the soil to tap water and nutrients. So you don't need to water it like the way you would water other plants. Leave it and just let it be. Don't pamper it. In fact, this was what she said. She said rosemary doesn't like disturbance. Don't pamper it and don't overcare for it and don't overwater it. Just let it be and let it thrive. That's how well they do. And they need well-draining soil to be able to do this. Because if they are going, the roots are going to be able to travel down to tap water and nutrients during the dry or drought seasons, then the soil has to be loose enough for them to do that. I love it with my potatoes, I love it with my jollof, I love it with my stews. So rosemary, we are going to give it another try again in our garden. We currently have one plant in this bed. It's starting to shoot new leaves, which I think is a good sign because this time around, we are not watering it like the way we did with our other plants. We are not making that mistake again this year because rosemary seedlings are quite expensive. These are the ones that you'll be buying for 80 Ghana, 100 Ghana. So to buy it and then have it die is usually really not a good experience. So we are doing our best this time to keep this one alive. And then as we are learning how to grow it and take care of it, we'll have more of them in the garden. They are a beautiful bush to have, especially when they grow really big and well. They are a really beautiful bush to have in your garden. Tomatoes is another good plant to grow during the dry season. Of course, you would have to water and mulch. Mulch, mulch, mulch. Don't play on the mulch when it comes to tomatoes. I think having tried growing tomatoes in the dry season, I got to understand why we have fresh tomatoes coming from Burkina to Ghana during the dry season because Burkina does a lot of irrigation farming. So during the dry season, where most farmers in Ghana are not planting anything and tomatoes is scarce and it's expensive, we rely on Burkina Faso for our tomatoes. Initially, I used not to understand it because I was like, our weather here and there is relatively the same. So how are they able to grow and we cannot grow tomatoes during the dry season? And the simple answer is irrigation. Burkina does a lot of irrigation, and for that matter, they are still able to grow tomatoes during the dry season. So if Burkina can do it, we can also do it here, and you can also do it in your small backyard garden. I have a whole variety of tomato seedlings here. We have seeds in there. Shh. We have the yellow pear. We have the Brandywine pink, Rosso Sicilian. Hey, I didn't even know we had this. Yellow pear, Brandywine, Rosso Sicilian. Oh. Rosso Sicilian. We have Valencia, Brandywine pink. We have all these tomatoes here. that we'll be trying out. The little I have read about the yellow pear is it is very drought resistant and does well during the dry season. So this is going to be a must. The other ones, we'll test them out. If they do well, fine. If they don't, we'll wait for when we have much cooler weather to try them out. Tomatoes do well under full sun. So to grow them during the dry season would be a good situation because they depend on the sun to make food, to make flowers, and make fruits. And some of these fruits even depend on the sun to develop their color and texture. Dry season, full sun, perfect condition for growing tomatoes. The last thing on my list is peppers. We are going to grow a variety of peppers this time around. Hot, mild, sweet, whatever you can think of. We have a whole lot of peppers here. So many peppers. We have pepper poblano, California wanda, pepper serrano, jalapeno, red habanero, this is also jalapeno, Hungarian hot wax, cayenne, California wanda, serrano, tampico. Hey, this one there is not my mates. We have all these peppers that we'll be trying out. Although peppers do well under full sun, of course, you would still need to care for them, especially aphids. Aphids are like pepper's worst enemy. So during the dry season, you will have them. It's not like you're not going to have them at all. You have aphids coming after your peppers. So you will need to have good organic pest control measures in place to handle those situations should they arise. If I haven't mentioned your favorite, or if you have any other plant in mind that you feel and know does well during the dry season, please leave it in the comment section for me. Also, I hope this list helped give you an idea what you can grow in your garden this dry season. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. Oh, done.